Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Dr. Shani Collins-Woods. I am an assistant professor of social work, and on this channel, I talk about all things related to self-care, success, healthy boundaries, and faith and spirituality. I also share aspects of my life as a faculty member, and today I am happy to share with you a very important topic as it relates to success. And I was thinking about success, and students have been emailing me all summer, and I'm like, okay, we're gearing up for the fall semester to begin. So I wanted to share this message with individuals who are interested in entering into the professoriate. If you're an adjunct instructor, a lecturer, or even a professor, here are some tips I'm going to share in this video on ways that you can be successful in the area of grading. Before I get into the video, I ask that you kindly subscribe to my channel. Share this channel with others who may be interested in learning about success, how to be successful in any particular endeavor, and who are just interested in learning about self-care, healthy boundaries, all those wonderful things that lead to work-life balance. So, why is this topic important? Why should we be talking about success and managing like our work life as well as our personal life, and how those things can sometimes intertwine? Well, it's important because burnout is real. I have been burned out before in my life. I'm sure you have been burned out before. And sometimes we get burned out because we're taking work home and taking home to work. And so we want to create a balance and find ways to create a balance. And so that's what I'm going to talk about. As an instructor or professor, you are required to grade students' work. Okay, I have to grade all the time. And grading can be, it can be great or it can be a disaster. But for the most part, it's something that most professors don't really look forward to doing, just to be honest, because it requires a lot of reading. It requires for you to kind of be stationary for a period of time, and it can just become very overwhelming. So I'm going to share 5 quick tips with you, and thank you for watching, on how you can really sort of find a balance when it comes to grading. And this will be very helpful if you are new to the professoriate, even if you are a graduate student who is working with a professor, and that professor has a lot of papers to grade, and you are that graduate assistant, and you are delegated with the responsibility of grading all of this work. Okay, so apply these tips, and I hope they will help you. They have been helpful to me. The first thing you can do, if you can, and if you are in that position, control the amount of work you give to the students. I say this because the more papers, assignments, quizzes you give, the greater level of work that comes back, it comes right back to you. So if you're giving 20 papers to grade and you have 20 students, you do the math. You have to not only give those assignments, create a rubrics for those assignments, you also have to grade all of that work. And that just doesn't apply to one class. You might be teaching 3 or 4 classes. So the more work you give to students, the more work you are also putting on yourself. Now, if you are new to the professoriate, you may not have any control of that. If you're adjunct, no, you don't have any control at all. You're typically just getting your job responsibilities, and they are saying, here, teach these classes. There may or may not be any guidance on how to teach. But if you can control it, for example, I am on tenure track, so we have a little bit more control in terms of what we can teach and how we teach our classes. So you may have that discussion with your chair and say, hey, we've been doing this the last 5 years. Maybe it's time for us to switch things up. Can we reduce some of these assignments without reducing the rigor? Okay, and so that may be a conversation you have. So again, think about ways you can control the amount of work you are giving. If they do allow you to eliminate some assignments or combine assignments, that may be helpful, because if you have greater control over the amount of work you are giving, you will have greater control over the amount that is placed on you when it comes to grading. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, have a plan for your grading. So don't just try to pile all your work up over 2 months and say, oh, I'm going to do it at the end of the semester, it'll be done. That won't work. You'll be overwhelmed. The dean will be calling you. The chair will be calling you. You might get fired. The students will be mad. They will protest. They will revolt. Okay, so don't have all of that drama going on. Have a plan. Say to yourself, okay, we're approaching the fall semester. I'm going to grade on Mondays and Wednesdays at 6 p.m. for 1 hour or for 2 hours. Or I'm going to grade on my lunch break on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12 to 1. Whatever you do, however you approach your grading, have a plan for grading, especially if you don't have a teaching assistant, especially if you have a large workload, especially if you don't have a course release. And what I mean by course release, for example, I am working in an administrative role, semi-administrative role, so I have a course release because I'm doing extra duties. So that means I only teach 2 classes in the fall, 2 classes in the spring. Some professors do not have that. They may have 6 classes in the fall, 6 classes in the spring. I definitely know at HBCUs that's not uncommon. Other universities may have a 4-4 load or a 3-3, 3 classes in the fall, 3 classes in the spring. Some universities have a graduate assistant for all professors, or for some professors. In my instance, we just have 1 graduate assistant for our entire department, which is a small department. So that means I am responsible for all grading. So what I do for myself is I set a time frame. I say I'm going to have all of my work done by Friday of this week or by Sunday of this week, and I flip those grades right back to my students. What I also do is try to keep a level of flexibility in my schedule when it comes to my plan for grading. So I don't tell students a definitive time, all right? Because when you tell students an absolute, they are going to hold that to you. And that's what they will use in some instances to go to the chair on you, to the dean on you, or to report if they feel like some kind of way they've not been treated fairly. So you want to eliminate all that. Give them a time frame. Say, you know what, this is what we are doing. You know, you're moving through your classwork. My goal is to have your work to you, or have a grade to you on your assignments, to keep you updated on your grade every 3rd week. That's kind of how I do it. You may do it every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, even every 4 weeks, but I wouldn't let it get into 5 or 6 weeks. So every 3rd week, meaning every 3rd assignment, you're grading all of your work. You're making sure everything is in so that the students will know throughout the semester where they are. So when they come to the end of the term, they're not saying, how am I flunking this class? Or I didn't know what my grade was. No, because they are getting updates periodically throughout the semester. So every 3 weeks, they're getting a grade update. Week 1 through 3, grade update. Week 4 through 7, grade update. And so you do this so that you are staggering their grades, and you're also giving them that direct feedback, but they are also knowing where they stand in your class. And this eliminates confusion. No confusion about grades if you do it that way. The third thing I would suggest is that you make sure you eliminate your distractions when you are grading your students' work. You may grade at home, you may grade at Starbucks, you may grade at your office. It is whatever works for you. For example, for me, my work is a place, an environment that is loud and it has a lot of distractions. So I don't grade there at all, okay? I grade at home where it's peaceful, where I can set the ambiance, where I can move through my work and read and be intentional about what I'm grading. So grade in a distraction-free environment. Okay, and so if your home environment is an environment that's not really conducive to grading, and work is the place where you want to leave your work at, that's perfectly fine. It depends on what works for you. But make sure you let your colleagues know, hey, my office is closed during this period, or I'm using this time to grade. You can put a sign up on your door, or you can order a sign from Amazon that says do not disturb. And they may come across rude, but really you have to set those boundaries and you have to protect yourself, because if something goes wrong with your students and they feel like their work isn't submitted, they will report you. They will call. We are in the age where if you're not satisfied with your DoorDash order, you can get on Twitter and talk about it. Same thing applies to academia. So work in a distraction-free environment, and sometimes that means you're taking work home, or you're bringing home to work, but you have to do whatever works for you to get your job done. So for me, my home environment is distraction-free. My work environment is filled with distractions, okay? Some positive, some negatives, but I do not grade at home, and I try to, just do my work at home because it's more peaceful for me. It works. Number 4, take a break as needed. Grading can be very mundane. It can be frustrating at times. Sometimes it can be exciting. But when you feel frustrated by a student's paper and you're like, now I know I told them this in the class and the message doesn't seem like it's translating, pull back and take a break, okay? Because you don't want to grade a student harshly when it's not fair, and you don't want to be too lenient. because that's not fair either. You want to make sure you're being objective when you grade. So if you feel frustrated, if you feel like, this is not going in the right way, take a break from your grading. Again, this goes back to my point number 2. Have a schedule. Break things up. Grade on 2 days so you can put a little space in between the grading, because grading can be very overwhelming, especially if you have let your work pile up and you're trying to grade 40 and 50 papers right before, academic affairs calls for grades to be submitted. So don't stress yourself out like that. Don't put that extra stress on yourself. Take a break as needed. Stay hydrated. And when something is frustrating you, or if it's a paper that you really don't understand, you don't understand the student's perspective, put it to the side, move to the next assignment, and if needed, call a meeting with that student or send them an email to let them know you want greater clarity on the assignment. But don't get too overwhelmed. Again, have a schedule, break it up. And the 5th thing I would encourage you to do is really what we should all be doing anyway as academicians. Think about it as a business. The students are the consumers, and they do deserve their grades. It's unfair for me to withhold my students' grades just because I've had some distractions going on. In the same way, if the situation were reversed, if you were the student, it would be unfair for that person to withhold, your grade just because they had distractions going on, or if they waited to the last minute. So make sure you are looking at it as a business consumer perspective. The students are the consumers. They are paying for their education, and they deserve to have their grades in a timely manner. Keeping students waiting 6 or 7 weeks will not necessarily be appropriate. It's sort of unprofessional, and you may get dinged by your dean or your chair, or it may come up in the student evaluations. And so you really want to eliminate that drama, because students will get frustrated, they will get angry, they get anxiety, they report. It's like almost, in this day and age, teaching, you're dealing with a lot of students who think that the way they communicate with their professors is the same way they communicate on social media. So they're looking for an immediate response. They're looking for that feedback. They want that feedback, and they deserve the feedback, whether it is negative or positive feedback. But make sure you're protecting yourself as a professor and giving that feedback so that you won't be receiving negative feedback from your boss, from your supervisor, from your chair. And no one is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes, but try to the best that you can to avoid that confusion by giving the students their feedback, letting them know the time frame, but not pigeonholing yourself into a specific deadline that you may not meet. So those are some things I do to really try to eliminate confusion with my students. I try to spell it out on the syllabus. I tell them on day 1, I put it in writing, I put it in writing, I put it in writing. And this all helps you, because when you get to the end of the semester and they say, hey, grades are due by December 8th, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, you want to be in a place where you can say, all right, all I have to do is grade that final. All I have to do is grade these 10 papers. All I have to do is grade these 30 papers, because everything else is graded. The students know where they stand. We aren't in any confusion. Nothing is coming up. Nothing is popping out, and I can just go skiing for Christmas. So that's how you want to end your semesters. Not in a place of being panicked, not being in a place of being stressed, but being in a place of sound mind, where you're preparing to relax, where you're like, I've gotten this done. We've moved through the semester. Okay, and you're ready to press submit. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it to be very helpful. I hope this message is encouraging to you. Don't quit if you are a new teacher or new to the professoriate. It takes time. And again, I've been teaching for over 15 years, so I've learned trial by fire. I didn't necessarily have mentors when I came into the professoriate. But I hope this video has helped you. If you like it, give it a big thumbs up. Share this video with those who may be interested in learning more about teaching at the collegiate level, being a professor, or just succeeding in general. This may not apply to you if you aren't a professor, but you can still take some of these tips and apply it to your day-to-day work, because we all need plans and schedules in place to help us eliminate burnout, eliminate stress. If you have a question, email me at info@AskDrShani, and visit my website, AskDrShani.com. For more information on booking me for speaking events, so forth and so on. Again, thank you for being one of my followers. And until the next time, be safe and be well. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Take care. Bye-bye.